IBM Global Electronics Industry provides end-to-end solutions ranging from business consulting, IT services, engineering, and technology services, all sorts of neat things to help their clients. The general manager for Global Electronics Industry with IBM is Bruce Anderson. Bruce, welcome into Tomorrow. Glad to have you with us.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be here.
What brings IBM to IFA, other than the fact that you both have 3 letters?
Well, this is IBM's second year at IFA, and we think we found a very nice niche here. We serve pretty much all of the major consumer electronics clients in a variety of ways, as you mentioned in your introduction. For a number of them, we have technology partnerships where we are often the brains underneath their consumer electronics device. If you look at pretty much all of the major gaming platforms, IBM is actually the chips that are driving those gaming systems for a lot of our youngsters.
Well, that explains why the stuff works, I guess. Yeah,
it is, and a lot of those electronics devices have the same issues that you have in supercomputers. Yeah. You really need to have a lot of capability. You need to have it in a very small space, and so IBM's got a lot of expertise in that. And then for a lot of these clients, we probably are doing close to $4 billion worth of services and IT hardware with these folks. And so, really understanding what their reality is like, coming to IFA, there's really no other way, to see what they're planning on doing next and make sure that our services are lined up with that.
So it's a great networking opportunity for you guys, as well as really getting face-to-face time with a lot of your clients too.
It absolutely is. I spent some time this morning with the chief marketing officer. He's very interested in how IBM runs its marketing operation. That's something we do through our consulting operations, is help clients kind of think through their business problems. Sure. But then being in the industry ourselves, as a major semiconductor manufacturer, but then also, selling business technology. And, we're not really in consumer electronics from an end product perspective, but from pretty much everywhere else that we can identify with their problems.
Oh, sure. In every other way, you're in consumer electronics.
We absolutely
to
are.
that extent. Bruce, what are you showing new technologies here at IFA? Some of the things you discussed, no doubt.
Absolutely. And so we've got, if you're over in the Science and Technology building, we've got voice technology on display. We've got different simulation technology on display. And also some of our high-end servers that we're seeing a lot of our clients start to embed into their business operations.
Ah, very cool. And along the same lines, I imagine in your discussion with clients, you're certainly communicating a whole lot about what their challenges are these days. So I want to get your perspective from IBM about the kinds of things that folks, for example, dealing with consumer electronics are dealing with.
Yeah, as you look at the challenges that we see them facing, I mean, you got to really point to a couple. And we do a global CEO survey about every 2 years, and we did one not only with 1,000 CEOs responding, but we also had 75 different consumer electronics CEOs respond as well.
Good.
So when we come up with these conclusions, we think we're doing it based on where some very, very smart people think the world is going. And as you look at it, we've got what we call the globally integrated enterprise, and really, there are almost no consumer electronics companies left that are doing business only in their home country. Yeah. Typically, they're in 12, 18 different markets, major business operations in those markets. And so the way that they set up their businesses is something that we know something about, being in 170 countries ourselves.
Yes.
And then we also see that these guys are starting to be faced with a lot of consumer pressure, a lot of analyst pressure around the topic of green. And so we're here showing what we can do to help them really take their operation, take their products in a green direction. And it's really now, especially with a lot of things changing around the world. In Europe, they've been green for a while and had regulations in that area. In the U.S., we can see it coming. And in Asia, we don't think they're far behind.
And I like how you said here in Europe, there's a whole lot of stuff. They've been doing it for a long time, and we can, in fact, learn from most Europeans. Certainly here in Germany, they're doing a lot of stuff to be green and have been for many years already.
Absolutely, Dave. I think that as you look at the typical consumer in Germany, they almost expect it from their manufacturers and expect it, to begin their products. And the manufacturers here really understand that, whether it's regulation or just the right thing to do, they're expected to behave in a certain way as they come up with their products, as they think about how they're going to be distributed, as they think about what's going to happen to those products at end of life. And it's really just starting to come around in the in the U.S. And I think in Asia, it's as I said, it's going to get there. But I think, as you look at the change that a company has to go through in order to start thinking that way, it starts at the top with the presidents and the CEOs of these companies really telling everyone that we're going to go in this direction. But what's been really refreshing as we've done this at IBM, as we've really pushed this agenda, is really the employees just sort of, rising to the occasion and really doing it sometimes on their own time, coming up with big ideas and it's been very good for us. And it's not something that is all cost. It's something that, while it's right to do, very often you will find a lot of cost reduction opportunities in your business operations, in your products. One of the big areas of Grain that we focused on has been power reduction in a lot of the things that we sell into the consumer electronics industry. And it's one that we have partnered with pretty much all of the major manufacturers in the gaming industry to make sure that these devices are as energy efficient as possible.
And that's great because consumer electronics, by their very nature, of course, draw power. I mean, that's how they work and it's how they function. And there are certain things that you can unplug or turn a power switch off or a power device. But you can't do that with DVRs, for example. If they're going to be on to record your favorite programs, they can't be off, and you certainly can't unplug them from the wall. So there's a lot of technology going into, and I'm sure IBM at the forefront of helping figure out the smarts end of those kind of things to say maybe they don't need to run on 15 or 20 watts while they're idle. They could run on a couple of watts, wake up, and then do their job when it's time. Yeah,
absolutely. You'll see that in your personal computer going to sleep and different components. Yeah. We worry about things like battery life, and that's where a lot of the technology comes from. But that same kind of technology where you can make particular components of the device go to sleep, you can do that to pretty much any device that you would like. It makes your battery last longer, the recharging less frequently, or if it's something that plugs into the wall, it just uses less power. And it's good for the environment.
Love it. Well, IBM continuing to lead the way in all sorts of energy and environmental issues. Bruce, we thank you for spending a couple of minutes with us and hope to get you back on again soon because there's more to cover, and we'll get an update as to what you guys are working on since we last spoke.
Sounds good.
Terrific. Bruce Anderson, the General Manager for the Global Electronics Industry Division of IBM. IBM.com for more, and you'll see some of the kinds of things that Bruce and his team are working on and some of the stuff we talked about on the show today. We're back with more from Berlin, Germany and IFA. I'm Dave Graveline. This is Into Tomorrow on the Advanced Media Network.